Going to shake out in the NBA, right? You see a matchup and you're like, okay, I got this. I know who's going to win. But then, wham, the Orlando Magic, they hadn't even won a home game in like a month.
They pull off this upset against the Lakers, 118 to 106. Totally unexpected.
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher at first glance.
Right. It makes you want to dig a little deeper, figure out what actually happened.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're doing today. We've been poring over all the post-game analysis, especially this awesome breakdown on YouTube, NBA Game Time reactions. Lakers fall to Magic 118-106. It's on the 4K Walking channel.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Some great insights in there.
Definitely. So for this deep dive, we're going to zero in on how the Magic pulled off this win. What were the keys to their success? The experts had a lot to say, so we're going to break it all down.
It's a good place to start. You know, when you look at the box score, the first thing that jumps out is Paolo and Franz Wagner both going off for over 30 points.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that's only the third time they've done that together this whole season. Shows you how their chemistry is developing. And Wagner, man, he was on fire in the second half. 20 points in that half alone, including 11 in the fourth quarter when it mattered most.
So clutch.
Right. Talk about stepping up when your team needs you.
Absolutely. Now, another thing that kept coming up in the game time analysis was how the Magic really seemed to control the pace of the game. They had a whopping 20 fast break points. How do you think they created so many easy scoring chances? Was it their defense forcing turnovers or something else?
It's a little bit of both, I think. Their defense was super active, definitely led to some steals and transition opportunities, but they were also really deliberate about pushing the pace after rebounds. Like, they were determined not to let the Lakers set up their defense.
Interesting. So they were proactive on both ends of the court.
Exactly. And if you look at their overall defensive strategy, it was super effective. They were really focused on shutting down those easy drives to the basket and contesting every shot, even against guys who aren't known as great shooters.
It was almost like they were daring the Lakers to shoot, saying, okay, you want to take a shot, fine, but it's not going to be easy.
Right. And that can really mess with a team's mentality. When you know you got to work that hard for every single look, it can get exhausting.
For sure. And speaking of working hard, Paolo was a beast at the free throw line. He went 10 for 12, and the commentators kept pointing out how much his size and that relentless drive to the basket played a role. They even made this funny comparison to him running like a rhinoceros.
I remember that. Yeah, Banchero, he's a force of nature when he's attacking the rim. And, you know, that ability to draw fouls and get to the line, it's huge.
Literally and figuratively.
Right. It's not just the free points, although those obviously add up.
Yeah.
It's also about getting opposing players in foul trouble and forcing them to play more cautiously.
Makes sense. You don't want to pick up that second or third foul early in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
And the Game Time guys also brought up a really interesting point about Anthony Black. You know, he came off the bench but played a ton of minutes at point guard.
Oh, yeah. What was the thinking there?
Well, apparently the coach wanted to see how the game was flowing first and then bring Black in when they needed his size and defense. They even mentioned they have specific plays designed just for him. It's a different approach than starting Corey Joseph, who they described as more of a steady, reliable presence.
So it's kind of like using Black as a secret weapon, deploying him strategically based on the situation.
Exactly. And it shows you how much trust they have in their young players.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to put Black in those high-pressure moments. And think about it. Starting Joseph gives you that consistency, but having Black as this flexible option allows the coach to adjust the lineup depending on what the Lakers are doing.
That's so smart, being able to adapt on the fly like that.
Right. It's like having multiple tools in your toolbox. You can pick the right one for the job. It also tells you a lot about the Magic's coaching philosophy.
How so?
Well, it shows they're willing to experiment, to be creative. And they're not just throwing their rookies out there to sink or swim. They're giving them meaningful minutes in crucial situations. It's all about development.
Makes you wonder how much that kind of tactical flexibility can impact a team's performance over the course of a season.
No doubt. And, you know, it wasn't just a couple of guys carrying the load for Orlando. The analysts emphasized that they had balanced scoring contributions coming from both starters and the bench.
Yeah, that's something we hear all the time in basketball. Like, it's so important. But why exactly does that offensive depth matter so much in a game like this?
Think about it from the defensive perspective. When you're facing a team where anyone can score, it's a nightmare to game plan against.
Yeah.
You can't just focus on shutting down one or two guys.
You got to guard everyone.
Exactly. And it opens up so many more options for the offense. They can run more plays, keep the defense guessing. And on the flip side, the Magic's defense was phenomenal. They held the Lakers to just 44% shooting for the field and only 6 3-pointers.
Wow.
Yeah, they were also winning the rebound battle and dominating in fast breaks. It was a complete team effort.
All right, so let's shift gears now and talk about what went wrong for the Lakers. The game time analysis really honed in on that third quarter where the Magic outscored them by 14 points. What do you think were the main reasons for that momentum swing?
Well, the biggest problem seemed to be their offense. It just stalled out. They kept talking about how the Lakers were relying too much on isolation plays.
Isolation plays, for those who might not be
All
familiar.
right, so basically, it's when a player tries to beat their defender one-on-one without much help from their teammates. Very little passing or off-ball movement. And the Lakers' assist total, just 20 for the entire game, that really backs up this observation.
So they weren't sharing the ball enough.
Nope. And even if you have superstars like LeBron and Doncic, if the defense knows what's coming, it becomes predictable.
And if those shots aren't falling, then what?
You're in trouble. And offensively, it sounded like the Lakers were giving Orlando's players way too much space, even guys who aren't known for their shooting.
You can't do that in the NBA.
Not at this level.
Yeah.
Even average shooters can get hot if you leave them open. It's about making them uncomfortable, forcing them to take tough contested shots.
So it comes down to effort and communication on defense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the analysts also spent some time discussing LeBron James. He had 5 turnovers in the previous game against the Bulls, but only 1 in this one, and he scored 24 points.
So some improvement there.
Yeah, but they still felt like he was struggling against the Magic's size and physicality.
What kind of adjustments does a player like LeBron need to make when he's facing a team that's that big and strong?
Good question. Maybe he needs to pick his spots a little more carefully. Instead of always trying to initiate the offense and drive to the basket, he could try moving without the ball letting his teammates create for him.
Trusting his teammates.
Right. The fact that James Doncic and Reeves accounted for all 10 of the Lakers' assists shows you how much the offense was running through those 3 guys.
Yeah. Diversifying the playmaking could be huge for them.
Definitely. No, we should give credit where credit is due. Luka Doncic still put up 32 points, and the analysts were impressed by how efficient his shot selection was, even when he was tightly guarded.
It's remarkable how he can still score at such a high level even when the team is struggling.
Yeah, he's got a knack for creating his own shot. And the fact that he wasn't forcing things, even in a tough game, that says a lot about his maturity as a player.
He doesn't let the pressure get to him.
Exactly. And Austin Reeves also had a solid first half with 8 points and 4 assists. The commentators were pointing out how comfortable he seems playing alongside James and Doncic.
Yeah, he's been a nice surprise for the Lakers this season.
For sure. He contributes in so many ways. He makes plays, he knocks down open shots, and he doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time.
Which is so valuable when you're playing with guys like James and Doncic.
Absolutely. He
Yeah.
understands his role, and he excels in it.
So to sum it all up, it sounds like the Magic's win was a total team effort. Balanced scoring, great transition offense, a stifling defense, and smart coaching decisions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Lakers, well, their offense got stagnant and predictable. Their defense had some lapses, and they relied too heavily on their stars to create everything.
That lack of ball movement really seemed to hurt them.
It was definitely a factor. So here's something for everyone listening to think about. We've got the Orlando Magic with their cohesive team-first style, and then we've got the Los Angeles Lakers, who seem to depend more on individual brilliance. Which approach do you think is more sustainable in the long run? Can the Magic keep exceeding expectations with their balanced play? Or will the Lakers figure out how to better integrate their star power and become a more consistent threat? Really makes you wonder about the different paths to success in the NBA.
No doubt. It's going to be fascinating to see how both of these teams evolve as the season goes on.